Hi, I'm Tamara and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today, I'm going to talk to you about my perspective on why I think Enneagram 6 and borderline personality disorder correlates. Enneagram 6s were sort of saved from becoming borderline personality disorders. They were a step away from that. And I think some of the unhealthy and some of the healthy actually mirror some of the components in borderline personality disorder. I think people who have borderline personality disorder were more sensitive to some of the things that happened to them in their lives, which was abandonment, trauma, didn't bond with a caregiver appropriately, because all humans need to bond with a caregiver, and if we don't, and you have the genetic disposition, or you're just in the right bad circumstances, then you can develop borderline personality disorder, which is a pervasive disorder that affects the personality, and they have a lot of unstable relationships, they have a lot of fears, they have acting out behaviors throughout their lives, and it is very difficult to heal and cure. Some of the advice that we give to people for the Enneagram to help them cope, to help them heal, to help them deal with life stressors, but we apply some of those same techniques to someone with borderline personality disorder and help them heal. So let's talk about the 6 on the Enneagram. 6s are very intriguing to me. They usually sort of draw me in. I think people with borderline personality disorder can also draw people in. They have, I would say, more of the anxious side. Many borderlines struggle with high anxiety, and Enneagram 6 deals with a lot of anxiety, fear. They are very focused on safety, keeping people safe, keeping you safe. They can sort of draw people in, just like borderline personalities can draw people in, because borderlines want their needs met that were not met in childhood. So they're always sort of looking for this mommy or this person to connect with that can fulfill that need, that emptiness, that lack of bonding. You know, oh, this person is going to save me, which 4s generally like to be saved. They, deep inside them, they want to be rescued. They have fantasies of people rescuing them from the abyss or from this darkness or this dark place. Borderlines do the same thing, but I think it's more extreme unless you get into the unhealthy, the most unhealthy aspects of 4. So with the 6, they also have a lot of anxiety, just like borderline personalities can. And so just like the borderline draws people in, 6s can be very good at drawing people in. Why? They want to make people feel safe. They know how to make people feel comfortable. They need that support around themselves. I need a safety blanket under me to catch me, to give me direction. Sometimes they may get lost in themselves on what direction. You know, sometimes they might want to make a decision on their own, but they sort of need somebody to come in and say, hey, we're doing it this way. Something generally has happened in the 6's life where they lived in a really rough neighborhood, or they also had a parent that wasn't there, but they had enough coping mechanisms or enough in their genetic makeup or something there to keep them from completely going over to that depth, pervasive personality disorder. They were sort of saved with the 6, but that 6 still comes with a lot of anxiety, a lot of nervousness, a lot of freak out, panic. Sometimes 6s can be hot-tempered, and that's why you see them kind of on the Enneagram as one of the types that you'll see arguing and fighting with people. So 6s struggle with connecting with their inner guidance that sort of gives them direction. Borderlines also don't quite know what their direction is either. They're loyal because they don't want to be abandoned or left alone by somebody. So they sort of know how to make people feel really good. Borderlines will connect with people in that way. Sometimes they sort of become you. They become one with you. Borderlines will. And you feel like, wow, we are the exact same people. Why? Because they are projecting your image onto them because they don't have an identity and they need one. If you ask them to describe who they are, they're going to have difficulty. So they may hop on to whatever description that you said because they don't know. It's like a blank canvas. Borderlines can be sort of ride-or-die chicks, like, I don't care what you do to me, I am gonna stay with you to the end. The sixes are sort of like that as well. It's like they probably stay in relationships longer than they should because, hey, I'm gonna be here with you to the end. I'm sticking with you. I'm not gonna leave you because I know how that feels and I'm not gonna do that to you. So borderlines can do that same thing. Sixes worry a lot. That's at the core of their temper outbursts. You also see that with borderlines, even though borderlines, it will probably be a lot more extreme for sure, and more intense. Sixes worry a lot, but they want to have some level of control over their lives. So they're not going to just hand everything over to you. They want to be in control of what it is that they're doing with their lives, how they want it to go, especially when it comes to big decisions. They want to be in charge of that because remember, there was some part of their life when they felt very much out of control. And so they're trying to get that control back. But because they went through some type of trauma in their, more than likely some level of chaos, then they are trying to hold on to that stability. So with sixes, you can either see the, hey, I am doing everything you want me to do. They're very charming and appealing and draw you in. Or there's the six that's going to be more aggressive, more fight you on, hey, this is my beliefs. I'm a ride-or-die chick to the end. I'm going to defend my beliefs, my values, all of that. And I don't care if I have to fight you. And I'm going to challenge you on what you say. So you have two different versions of the six that you can see. But at the end of the day, no matter how all over the place they might be, or not all over the place, because some of them are stable, some of them are all over the place, they're going to be loyal. They're going to always remember those people, that base. And they can be very kind, very giving, very helpful to people, very nurturing. They can be really, and have a lot of personality. Just like I think many borderlines have a lot of personality, even though they may not be clear on what their personality is. So when things are going well for the six, they feel confident, they feel good. But when there's a break in that, like things aren't going well, they're like, who do I depend on? What do I do now? I don't want to be on my own. I don't want to, I need support. My anchor is gone. What do I do now? And then that can send them into a state of panic and fear. And you start seeing that all of those anxieties starting to erupt. They will go to great lengths to connect to people that they really care about or that they can trust, because that's such a big deal to them. Just like the borderline, at first at least, they may go to great lengths to reel you in because that's what they need. They need you to sort of be their support, their anchor. Sixes on the Enneagram remind me of survivors because they have those opposite adjectives that fit themselves. Like they are tough, but they're also weak. They're strong, but they're very vulnerable. They are leaders, but they may also need to be extreme followers. It's sort of like this push-pull because they're trying to make it, they're trying to survive, and having those opposite extremes can sort of help them to navigate through life in a way that they find themselves, keep themselves out of harm's way. Borderlines, there's this newish thing, or at least it's becoming more and more popular, about the quiet borderline, where they retreat into themselves. They don't want to be bothered. They want to stay in bed all day, or they just are pushing everyone away. They just don't want to deal. They don't have the coping mechanisms or the strength. So on a positive note, Enneagram 6s can be very trustworthy. They can be great leaders. They can be very confident. They can do amazing things. They can be very courageous and positive and really make people feel deeply, deeply special and cared about. They are amazing at that. They are also polarizing because people will sometimes love them and sometimes people will hate them. It's kind of an in-between thing. On the unhealthy spectrum, 6s will be insecure, belligerent, putting people down, temperamental, looking for threats, too suspicious, not trusting, paranoid. That's the unhealthy end of the 6, and they can also make people either their allies or now you're an enemy, or you're my friend, now you're not, which is something that borderlines can do as well. I'm just kind of curious if borderlines can have an Enneagram where they're sort of acting out in that unhealthy realm, if the two somehow intermingle in some way. Just my curiosity, because there's differences in different borderlines, and even though we are supposed to follow the DSM to the T, you must have all these. How many people who have worked with borderline personality disorders have seen variations in that, like where they fit almost everything, but there's some areas that just don't quite fit. And so I don't know, I hope you found this interesting. So thank you so much for watching my video. Please give me a thumbs up, share it with people that you know who are interested in these topics, and subscribe so that you can check out all the new things that I'm doing with my head. Thank you so much. Bye.